Namaskar, you're watching News Night, the agenda-setting news show which puts only in focus the news that matters the most. Blatantly refusing to apologize for his most outrageous remarks, Rahul Gandhi, the former Congress president, today justified his controversial remarks and accusing the BJP of diverting focus from the issue of cab and the violence in Northeast reportedly. On the show tonight, we ask, is it not unbecoming of a parliamentarian to make such provocative, controversial remarks which the government says amounts to insulting the dignity of women and the nation as a whole? Meanwhile, remember viewers, Rahul Gandhi remains adamant. He says he will not apologize, displaying his sheer arrogance and insensitivity. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and first up on the show tonight, here are the headlines. Massive uproar in Parliament over Rahul Gandhi's remarks in Jharkhand rally. BJP MPs demand apology from the former Congress chief, while Congress allies defend it. Delegation of BJP leaders lodges complaint with Election Commission. Winter session of Parliament winds up with both the houses marking over 100% productivity over 15 bills passed by both houses. Rajya Sabha chairperson terms 250th session of the upper house as a landmark session in terms of productivity. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addresses contentious economic issues ranging from price rise of onions to employment scenario. Asserts government has contained rise in onion prices. Meanwhile, Chief Economic Advisor says impact of government's economic reforms visible with rise in salaried employment. In other news, situation in Northeast moves towards normalcy after protest against the Citizenship Amendment Bill legislation subside. Curfew relaxed in Dibrugarh. Meanwhile, Assam DJP appeals for calm and peace. Campaigning intensifies for the remaining two phases of Jharkhand polls. BJP leaders Nitin Gadkari and Yogi Adityanath hold a string of election rallies, appeal for vote. Leaders of JMM, JVMP and other parties also hold flurry of rallies to garner support for their candidates. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair first meeting of National Council for Ganga on Saturday, that's tomorrow in Kanpur. Over 10 union ministers and chief ministers of 5 states to participate in meeting to review Ganga cleanliness work executed over the last 5 years. Parliamentarians pay tribute to the martyrs of 2001 Parliament terror attack. Blood donation camp organised in Parliament complex in remembrance of those who sacrificed their lives. In international news, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announces 31 January as date for Brexit in his first address from 10 Downing Street after his thumping victory. Prime Minister Modi sends congratulatory message. EU leaders discuss Brexit at EU summit in Brussels. Warn of challenging time frame to execute UK's exit from the bloc. And the concluding day of the winter session of Parliament saw massive uproar triggered by Rahul Gandhi, former Congress president's outrageous remarks reportedly made in a rally in Jharkhand recently. Now, the BJP, remember, has lodged a blistering attack in Parliament today on Rahul Gandhi over his remarks, and BJP has constantly sought his apology. While some of the Congress allies attempted to defend Rahul Gandhi's comment by justifying it as a matter of interpretation, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi is now in the middle of the controversy, shockingly remaining completely unfazed over his alleged remarks. He further justified it by saying that BJP wants to deviate attention from alleged violence in Northeast as a fallout of the Citizenship Amendment Bill legislation.
Both houses of Parliament were adjourned on Friday, the last day of the winter session of Parliament, amid an uproar over former Congress President Rahul Gandhi's controversial remark. Women legislators, especially from the Treasury benches, were seen demanding an apology from Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for the controversial comment made during an election rally in Jharkhand. Speaker Om Birla adjourned the proceedings sine die amid a hue and cry raised by BJP MPs over Rahul Gandhi's remark. In the Lok Sabha, the concluding day saw uproarious scenes even during question hour, with women legislators of the BJP raising serious objections to Rahul Gandhi's outrageous remarks. They condemned Rahul Gandhi's controversial comment, calling it blatant respect for the women of the country and for the country as a whole, saying Rahul Gandhi must tender an apology to the entire country.
ये राष्ट्र के इतिहास में पहली बार हुआ है जो कांग्रेस पार्टी का नेता रेप जैसे संगीन जुर्म को पॉलिटिकल मॉकरी का हिस्सा बनाता हो। ये राष्ट्र के इतिहास में पहली बार हुआ है कि गांधी खानदान का एक बेटा सरेआम कहता हो आओ हिंदुस्तान में बलात्कार करो। राहुल जी ने बोला है रेप इन इंडिया, तो सबको ले आओ, वेलकम कर रहे हैं, आओ हम लोग को रेप करो। ये हम लोग महिला है, पूरा भारतीय महिला का ही अपमान है, भारत माता की अपमान है।
Treasury benches also asked the opposition benches, especially women legislators of the Congress and its allies, to clarify their stand on Rahul Gandhi's outrageous remark. The response from Congress allies defending Rahul Gandhi further infuriated the ruling combine.
I would like to ask you, Supriya Suraji, Kani Modi ji, Rahul Gandhi is telling rape in India, and rape in India means what? He is asking all the people, all the outsiders, come to India and rape all the women vote of India. Is it right? You tell your opinion.
We have to understand one thing first. This was said outside the house. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the honorable MP, intended it. Unfortunately, Make in India is not happening, and the women in this country are being raped.
I was hopeful that above party lines you could rise and condemn this statement of rape in India. That is the least as parliamentarians, as citizens we can do. I am extremely disheartened that even on issues of crime against women you could not raise above party lines.
Amid a massive furore, the proceedings of the House had to be adjourned till noon. When the House resumed, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh demanded an apology from the former Congress President, adding that such parliamentarians have no moral right to be in the Lok Sabha.
जिन शब्दों की तुकबंदी इस सदन के वरिष्ठ सदस्य जो कांग्रेस पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष रह चुके हैं राहुल गांधी के द्वारा की गई है, अध्यक्ष महोदय, सचमुच मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं, मैं तो आहत हुआ हूं, पूरा सदन आहत हुआ है और मैं समझता हूं सारा देश आहत होगा। तो ऐसे व्यक्ति को सदन का सदस्य बनने का कोई नैतिक अधिकार नहीं है।
Rahul Gandhi's controversial remarks also rocked the proceedings in the Rajya Sabha as well. Women legislators from the upper house demanded an apology from Rahul Gandhi. The ruckus led to adjournment of the Rajya Sabha as well.
Yesterday in a public meeting, sir, a leading personality of the Congress party, a leader, top leader, has described India not as make in India but rape in India, sir. This is very serious.
The anger over Rahul Gandhi's comments spilled over outside Parliament as well, with women MPs of the BJP attacking the former Congress president and calling his remarks unacceptable.
On the horrendous statement, and I repeat that word, horrendous statement made by Shri Rahul Gandhi. We may belong to the opposition party, but when we are talking about the country, I assume that all of us will be one. We are talking about women and women's dignity. It's a matter of shame that a senior leader of Congress party speaks forgetting about the dignity of women.
इसकी जितनी भर्त्सना की जाए कम है और इसलिए पूरा सदन आज उसमें माफ़ी मांगने के लिए कह रहे थे। राजनाथ जी ने भी कहा, लेकिन वो पूरे देश से उनको माफ़ी मांगनी चाहिए।
Despite uproar over Rahul Gandhi's outrageous remarks inside and outside Parliament, the Wayanad MP refused to budge from his position. He said, I will not apologize.
महिलाओं की बात तो है, मैं बात करता हूं माफी मांगने की। मैं इनसे माफी कभी नहीं मांगने वाला हूं।
Amidst all this, a delegation of women BJP MPs knocked on the Election Commission's door, lodging a formal complaint against Rahul Gandhi's comment.
भारत की महिलाओं के संदर्भ में राहुल गांधी का जो वक्तव्य है, उस पर देश के आक्रोशित परिवारों की ओर से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की महिला सांसदों ने, महिला कार्यकर्ताओं ने कड़ी सजा देने का निवेदन इलेक्शन कमीशन के सम्मुख प्रस्तुत किया है।
Meanwhile, with Rahul Gandhi vehemently refusing to apologize on the matter, which has triggered a huge uproar and outrage. The matter is unlikely to settle down anytime soon. With Parliament team, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, on the show tonight, we are joined in our studio, Charu Pragya from the BJP. Also, we have Subransh Rai, political analyst, who continues to lean towards Congress, and also very glad to have Rekha Agarwal, senior advocate, also joining us on the show. Thank you very much. I would want to start it with Charu, and Subransh may respond. Charu, but then this question to you is not in the capacity of you representing BJP. You see, do you think this is essentially not really a political issue? When Rahul Gandhi says, "Main maafi nahi mangunga," it's insensitive, extremely outrageous, extremely provocative, and also, Charu, coming at a time when we see a growing demand for hanging Nirbhaya's rape convicts, and what we have seen, the horrific incident in Hyderabad recently, and now this.
Sakal, I'm very glad you played out the clip when Rahul Gandhi ji was speaking to the media. Did you hear the tone he was speaking in?
Arrogance.
He did not sound like a seasoned
Arrogance.
politician.
Political
He
arrogance.
sounded like a 14-year-old teenager who is, yes, arrogant, who is stubborn, who realizes he's made a mistake, but he is not big enough to
Subransh, has he
backtrack and
realized he has made a
apologize.
big blunder? I think mistake is an understatement here.
Sakal, the first apology coming from the Prime Minister Narendra
Okay, now
Damodar.
this
Listen,
is
no,
not
no, no,
about
no, listen,
Prime
listen,
Minister
Sakal,
to
please.
I
Sakal,
will
please.
no, don't get into this please business. Let's talk about what happened in Parliament.
Yeah,
today.
you
I
can
think
talk.
it's not
Prime
about
Minister Narendra Modi is saying Delhi is a rape capital.
You are deviating entire issues.
Look, can I just get 10
Let's not
seconds
make
more?
it into a shout fest. Pragya.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just take, Shubhranji, I'll just take 10
This is wrong.
seconds. When you want to oppose a political ideology, do that. But do not demean your motherland, which is exactly what has happened with this statement. You are demeaning India.
Okay.
The statement you are making is not based on fact. It doesn't have any statistics backing it up.
To Rahul Gandhi's
And
style?
yet he sticks to it
Subransh,
like an
let's get
arrogant
it clear.
teenager.
Let's get it clear. Rekha ji, I'm also
Charu,
coming to you. Subransh, my question, please answer the question. Don't go in a different tangent and waste our time. You know, do you subscribe to what Rahul Gandhi said on the floor of the House today? Yes or no?
No, he is not saying anything into the floor of the House.
Okay.
Sakal, but remember first, इस देश को पहली बार बदनाम करने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी ने किया था. To saying this word, Delhi is the capital of rape.
No.
Okay.
Point number one.
You are trying to twist the narrative
Listen,
because you are
whosoever the
completely on the
women
back
member
foot,
of parliament
Subransh.
from the Bharatiya
Rekha ji,
Janata Party,
aren't you
why
equally
they are
shocked?
making keep silent
Don't shout,
on the
we can
Dr.
hear you.
Reddy's matter into Hyderabad?
We can hear you,
Why
we
they
can
are
hear
making
you.
keep silent
You're all
into
good.
now case?
Relax.
उन लोगों के
Rekha ji.
I think that whatever Rahul Gandhi said, whether he said it in the parliament or whether he said it outside, it is a horrendous statement which amounts to defaming women as a class of people. The whole world
That's
has heard
the
that
larger
statement
picture,
and he
defaming
painted, showed women of India in a very, very poor light. It amounts to a criminal offence under the Indian Penal Code for which he can be prosecuted under Section 499 Indian Penal Code.
It amounts to, do you think in a legal parlance this actually
Absolutely,
amounts to a criminal
because
offence?
it is a slanderous statement which has been made deliberately and he's unapologetic about it.
And you know, Sakal, there is another angle to this. He has used a very positive thing that India was doing. Make in India. Make in India is a thing of pride for all Indians. Make in India is talked about the world over. He has degraded Make in India to rape in India. Exactly. So he is not just disrespecting the women of India, he is also disrespecting something which has put India on the global platform today.
Subransh, if you don't look at it through a political prism, but objectively, whether he's dubbing Make in India into something extremely blatantly outrageous, forget that. But is this not defaming the women of the country?
Absolutely.
Rekha ji, where is your IPC 499 when Chief Minister
Subranji,
Narendra
please answer the question, sir.
Why do you not
Delhi is a rape capital?
will not work on
तब आपका IPC कहाँ सोने जा गया था? And point number two, where is member of parliament from Bharatiya Janata Party, the women member of parliament? Why they are making their mouth shut when Dr. Reddy happened into Hyderabad? When happened in Buxar? All entire Bharatiya Janata Party ruling is
Let's get some ground rules very clear.
happened into the every daily morning newspaper.
You're sitting in the studios of
Yeah, I know
Doordarshan.
I'm sitting into Doordarshan studio.
You need not shout. We can hear you. The
Yeah,
nation is
I
watching
know you can hear me.
It's not a slugfest or shoutfest. You can do it elsewhere, not on DD studio. Well, having said that, don't get so emotional about it. Let's debate on facts. not on rhetoric. Charu.
Before we go on facts, I would like to ask one simple pointed question to Shubhransh ji. Do you endorse the statement made by Rahul Gandhi
him, that was
today?
a very nice question.
Listen,
Yes,
listen,
are you
Charu,
saying yes?
listen, wait,
Because
wait.
if you're saying
Listen,
yes, then I
Charu,
demand an
listen,
apology
Charu
from
first.
you
Listen,
as well.
When in the morning you wake up and you open any newspaper from north to south and east to west, you find one big news that is related from the rape, that is related from the murder. It means, listen, it means the Modi government is completely fair.
Are we going
and
to play politics
the maximum cases are happening to the BJP ruling state. Maximum BJP members, BJP MLAs are accused. But no news. Where is Kuldeep Singh Sengar? Where is Swami Chinmayanand?
Don't shout. Are we going to stoop down to such a level of political discourse wherein we go back to statistics, we dig out data during UPA में इतने rapes हुए थे, NDA में इतने rapes हुए थे. Is this what you're trying to say?
No, is this,
are you not adding insult to the injury?
2020
You're not answering the question, sir. Rekha Agarwal, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that criminal conspiracy.
As a sister, as a mother, as a lover, as a wife, as a daughter.
So we don't know
And if these rape victims are coming from Bharatiya Janata Party and designated like Kuldeep Singh as MLA and Swami Chinmayanand like as ex-Home Minister State, why not this rule for the rape and the POSCO was working? Where is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Damodar Das Modi, 56 inch ka chest silent on this matter? And where this women MP from the Bharatiya Janata Party are
Charu Pragya,
I'm very sorry to say that, but my fellow panelist has totally deviated from the topic. The question is not what Mr. Modi said or what XYZ said. The question is that has Rahul Gandhi defamed women as a class of people,
and
made a mockery of a very heinous crime of rape. Nobody is denying the fact that when you open the papers today, every morning, the papers are full, the headlines are full of rape statistics all over the country. That is something which is a very disturbing news that everybody reads. So instead of getting together above party lines and coming to a strategy, we have to arrive at a strategy, look at the whole issue with more sensitivity, more dignity. You can't trivialize such a serious issue.
And we also need to see how Rahul Gandhi has become a habitual offender. Time after time, the minute he gets a chance to speak, he only degrades and defames India. He does not add to the glory that we are trying to be. Yes, he's called India the rape capital. Now he's saying rape in India. Before that, sitting in the United States of America, he is equating organizations working in India to the ISIS. So what is he trying to prove? Is he trying to tell the globe, the leaders across the world, that India is disintegrating and I am celebrating this? That's the message he's sending out. And I am deeply offended as a young woman living in India today, and I'm even more deeply offended that there are people like Shubhransh ji who come on the debate today and they have the balls to support what Rahul Gandhi said.
Saying in the every morning, if you find some horrible news about
you cannot
listen,
sorry about it and justify
he's sorry about it.
Then who is responsible?
Apologizing on his behalf.
We are all Modi government. Ma'am, where are you? Why you are not raising the question against this government? Listen,
you want to get into those details? I will tell you the amendments which are made in the law.
This government is always making keep silent when any person involving from Bharatiya Janata Party directly or indirectly into this rape. Why? Why not they are making?
You have repeated your question.
No, I'm not repeating. I'm just saying the fact story.
Okay, we know the facts.
End of the day, either Kuldeep Singh Sengar from Bharatiya Janata Party MLA, either Swami Chinmayanand from ex-Home Minister State from Bharatiya Janata Party, either whosoever ex-gurus from the Haryana, they are directly connections from Bharatiya Janata Party. So why not this Modi government come into the fray where rape means rape, POSCO means POSCO.
Are you done?
Fact, no. In fact, Prime Minister Modi has not any making single statement after Hyderabad, after Unnao, after Buxar. उनको तो सिर्फ एक चीज अच्छा लगता था जब मुख्यमंत्री दिल्ली को रेप कैपिटल बना दिया मुख्यमंत्री बने बंद करके He's enjoying Kashmir, second Kashmir into the Assam.
Have completely, you are completely exposed your stand. You've come up with such counter arguments which absolutely make zero sense in the current political discourse of the debate. No, sir, please, no. You're entitled to your opinion. But my simple question to you,
the country
is asking this question.
Damodar Das Modi is making the statement. Delhi is a rape capital.
Okay.
Do you have any question? No. If where is the Bharatiya Janata Party?
Can I just say something over here?
Why they are making their mouth shut? Then the Unnao is happened.
Can I just say
Hyderabad is happened.
We will not let this happen like this. Sorry.
Sakal, can I
I'm
just say
sorry if you want to go on this banter. You are more than welcome to step out. Let the other panelists also speak. Do not try to convert the same structured discussion or a debate. Don't do this. You're not letting them speak. You're not letting them speak.
If you are happy,
hold on. You made a point. Let's have a counterpoint. Let's have a counterpoint.
Whatever the wrong decision coming,
you're not letting the panelists to speak.
And you make it right. Go ahead. It is your call.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Pragya, go on.
So he has left because honestly, he had no answer to the pointed questions we asked him. It is shameful that a man supports a statement which is so embarrassing, which is so sad for India today. Because when I look at Rahul Gandhi today, I don't look at him that he comes from the Congress party and I come from the BJP. The fact is that he is a leader in India today. The fact is he's a leader in India today. The fact is that I'm a young woman living in India today, and that's a man who should be pushing India, promoting India on the global platform.
I'm not interested in the politics of it. Okay, Pragya, point taken.
Us.
Rekha Agarwal, what message does this send across? Because it virtually brought the concluding day of the winter session of Parliament to standstill.
It is extremely...
Whether he says, I will not apologize, or whether after 48 hours he apologizes, but the damage is done, isn't it?
It is extremely sad that a public figure like Rahul Gandhi has used this platform to, use his political rivalry in this manner. Political rivalry apart, he is a citizen of India. And as any citizen of India has a fundamental right of speech, freedom of speech. Right. But freedom of speech has got riders. Every fundamental right that every citizen has, whether a co-panelist, Mr. Subransh, who just walked off in a huff, or whether it is Pragya or whether it is me, we have freedom of speech, but there are certain riders, there are certain parameters to it. And freedom of speech cannot be exercised in this manner. If Rahul Gandhi had any political rivalry with the ruling party, he could have used other ways of voicing his opinion. But in the manner in which he has a public authority, a public figure, has used these words about women in a public sphere, it amounts to defaming women. It amounts to defaming women as a class of people. It amounts to committing a criminal act, amounting to slander.
Okay, now I want to know, as a sane, objective voice who is apolitical, the way this has been in a way justified or oversimplified by the likes of Kanimoi and Congress allies, the way they were trying to make it, this is just a matter of your interpretation.
Yes,
no,
absolutely.
I mean the spin that he said this, yes, he said this, but it's up to you how you interpret it. He didn't mean this, but he said this.
No, but then it does not matter how anyone else is interpreting this statement, because Rahul Gandhi is very clear. He says absolutely surely that he is not apologetic. He says it with arrogance, he says it with surety, and he keeps repeating it. And that's why I say he's become a serial offender when it comes to putting down our motherland. And I'm saying our motherland, it doesn't seem to be his. He has trivialized an issue like rape, which is so serious the world over. When you look at the statistics from the USA, from Italy, from India, we are a country which is strikingly better off, and I am saying this with the backing of statistics. Italy has the rape statistics 20 times worse than India, 20 times worse. And today we are amending laws, we are making laws stricter, we are appealing to the judges on a daily basis to make sure they give out the most stringent punishment. But what does the opposition leader do?
We might have covered a lot of ground when it comes to having a very strong deterrent. Ma'am, this is for you, Rekha ji, you yourself a senior advocate, when it comes to covering the larger ground in terms of strong and strict deterrence against the rape. But that is not the question. Still we have, Nirbhaya case, still the national talking point. What has happened in Hyderabad recently, we will never ever be able to forget, whether these are previous governments or the current government. Let's face it, we've not done enough because this is still happening on ground. But that's a different debate
that's a
altogether.
different debate altogether.
Yeah, please make your point.
Yes, all I can say is over here that no doubt we must all hang our heads in shame when we read the paper every day. As Subhransh was talking about the number of rape cases that are there every morning. But criticizing our country as a whole, criticizing the women as a whole, defaming them does not amount to arriving at a solution. What Rahul Gandhi or any political person for that matter has to do is put your heads together across party lines and arrive at a solution. We have very, very stringent laws. Pre-Nirbhaya also the laws are very strict. Post-Nirbhaya the laws have become even more stringent. Post-Kathua and now the laws have become even more strict and vigilant regarding rapes of women who are under 12 years of age. We are even talking about death punishment for rapists of children below girls below 12 years of age. So what is to be done is we need faster speedier justice, because as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. It is a wrong message to the public.
Today.
Yes.
And Parliament erupted in anger today, and the nation now has access to the parliamentary proceedings.
Yes.
Let's not mock our democracy. At the end of the day,
Absolutely
you're Rahul Gandhi, the former president of one of the oldest political parties of the country.
So
I when you say I'm not ready to apologize,
with every right comes a responsibility. Yes, he does have the right to freedom of speech, but he is not exercising it judicially. He is defaming not just the women in India, he's also trivializing.
What do you think here
He
is the
speaks
intent?
without backs and statistics.
What is the intent here, precisely?
I think, he is just the sort of a man who will make outrageous statements to remain relevant, because he's not done anything constructive, to put down the way Modi ji has been governing India. And the third most important thing is, I think he just does not think enough. He might have a spate of advisors, but they all fall in line with what he does, and I don't go by the explanations given by his party members trying to interpret it as this way or that way.
Very quickly,
he
that
is
reminds
very
me the
sure
counter-attack
that
has
he
been
said
the
what he
government
said.
of the day has been trying to deviate attention.
He should apologize,
What has been
and we
happening
have
in
taken
Northeast
action
as a
against him.
fallout of CAB, the Citizen Amendment Bill legislation fallout. This is the justification. Charu.
It's such a silly justification, because
Okay,
CAB
call it
has
silly?
been, of course, because that has been discussed independently, separately. Had he bothered to read the bill which has been passed in the parliament, he would understand that every single citizen's concern has been addressed, security has been addressed, and India has become stronger than ever before. Because he has nothing relevant to add, he resorts to tactics like this and sticks to it like a teenager.
So Charu Pragya, representing BJP, says that this is another ploy by Rahul Gandhi to stay relevant in the current scheme of things. Thank you very much, Charu Pragya, as well as Rekha Agarwal, for joining us on the show tonight. Let's move on and stay with what all happened in Parliament today. The good news is that the winter session of the Parliament, which concluded today, in fact, was largely successful in terms of legislative business. The nearly month-long session saw some key bills or legislations tabled and passed. The key takeaways of the session, of course, was the passage of the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019, which was passed in December 11th in Rajya Sabha and on 9th of December in Lok Sabha. Remember, a few other bills such as the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2019 that seeks to prohibit commercial surrogacy but also allows altruistic surrogacy has been sent to Rajya Sabha Select Committee. Yet another bill, the Data Protection Bill, has been also sent to a joint Select Committee. Here is a comprehensive report on key business transacted in this winter session of Parliament.
The House stands adjourned sine die.
सभा की कार्रवाई अनिश्चित काल के लिए स्थगित की जाती है.
After serious debates and discussions and passing of important legislations over the last 20 days, the winter session of Parliament came to an end on Friday. Of the 18 bills introduced, 15 bills were passed by both houses. While Lok Sabha marked the productivity at 116%, Rajya Sabha was 100% productive in a fitting tribute to its 250th session. The winter session was also remarkable in terms of questions asked. The maximum number of questions were taken up in the last 49 years since 1971.
Rajya Sabha has passed 15 bills. 18 bills were introduced in Lok Sabha. Both the houses passed together 15 bills. After the last session, this is one of the best sessions as far as productivity is concerned.
Of the bills passed during the winter session of Parliament, the important bills were Citizenship Amendment Bill, SPG Amendment Bill, Jallianwala Bagh National Memorial Amendment Bill, Constitutional Amendment Bill extending reservation of SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and state assemblies, Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, Bill prohibiting electronic cigarettes, Chit Fund Amendment Bill, Bill protecting rights of transgendered persons, the Arms Amendment Bill. The bill to grant property rights to residents of Delhi staying in unauthorized colonies was also passed by both the houses in this session. Describing the historic 258th session of the Rajya Sabha as being a landmark session, Chairperson M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday hoped that this new normal of exceptional productivity will stay for all the time to come.
I am overall happy about the session, but for small disappointment that also could have been avoided. I hope that all of you will take note of the feelings expressed from the chair, that is the collective feelings of the entire House.
In his concluding speech, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that House was not only productive regarding legislative business, but the legislators also got lots of opportunities to ask questions. Short duration discussions on air pollution and climate change and crop loss issue of farmers was also conducted.
ये सत्र संक्षिप्त था, लेकिन फिर भी 130 घंटे 14 मिनट यह सत्र चला। कुल 20 बैठकें सत्र की हुई और इस सत्र में भी 28 घंटे 45 मिनट समय से देर रात्रि तक माननीय सदस्यों ने अपनी उपस्थिति से इस सदन को चलाया और ये कह सकते हैं कि इसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी भी 115% रही।
This was also the 250th session for the Rajya Sabha. To mark the occasion, a special discussion on the role of Rajya Sabha and the need for reforms was held. This year was also the 70th Constitution Day. Special program was held in the Central Hall of Parliament to commemorate this occasion, where President, Vice President and Prime Minister addressed the August gathering. The winter session, though brief, witnessed constructive debates and important legislations being passed. Members also got a lot of opportunities to ask their questions. With Parliament team, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Moving on, the 18th anniversary of Parliament attack was observed today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Congress President Sonia Gandhi and many other parliamentarians also paid rich tributes to martyrs of 2001 terror attack in Parliament. 18 years ago, on 13th of December, terrorists attacked Parliament complex and opened fire, killing 9 people. All 5 terrorists were also shot dead. And on the anniversary of Parliament terror attack, personnel of Defence Forces also donated blood in fond remembrance of the martyrs who sacrificed their lives. The officials of Parliament also donated their blood to mark the day and also pay tributes to martyrs.
हम लोग हर साल 13 दिसंबर को अपनी स्वेच्छा से यहाँ पर रक्तदान देते हैं, जो कि देश में हमारा ब्लड अगर किसी के गरीब व्यक्ति के या जिसको चाहने वाले के काम आ जाए तो हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है सर।
जो भी हमारे जवान शहीद हुए हैं उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा बलिदान दिया है हमारे देश के लिए, हम इसको याद रखेंगे और इसी की याद में हम अपना ब्लड डोनेट करते हैं सर।
रक्तदान तो महादान है, उन्होंने अपने इसके लिए बहुत अच्छा काम किया तो हम कुछ कर सके उनके लिए।
In other news, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addressed some contentious issues pertaining to the state of economy, ranging from spiraling onion prices to bolstering employment opportunity ecosystem, also GST rate card and much more. Clearing the air on GST, she stated there has been no discussion of changing the GST rate in the Finance Ministry so far. Here's a quick report.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Chief Economic Advisor K.V. Subramanian and other top officials of the Finance Ministry addressed a press conference on economic measures undertaken by the government. Finance Minister stressed that the government will intervene on economic issues and those relating to the industry as and when required.
Although I'd like to have the results coming out or showing up sooner. So that is one thing. The second is As regards the sectors, till now, I think across the board, those who have spoken to us and demanded some kind of an intervention, we've responded to them. I'll be very keen to see if these steps are really meeting up with the expectation of the sectors concerned. If not, I may want to see if I need to do more. As of now, there is no other sector which has approached me as yet.
Speaking on the issue of onion prices, Finance Minister said that group of ministers are reviewing the situation on how to further take up the import-related issues of onion.
कई जगह पर प्याज के दाम कम भी होने लगे हैं. कम जितना कम होना है उतना नहीं, मगर जहाँ तक पहुँचा उधर से कम हो रहा. We've had a group of ministers meeting which is reviewing on almost every 1 or 2 days gap basis. And deciding on how to further take up the import related issues. Is bar, because of the rain and excessive in some places and flooding in some other places, crop extent ही कम हुआ, therefore output भी कम हुआ.
Speaking at the press conference, Chief Economic Advisor Krishnamurthy Subramanian said that government's economic reforms are showing its impact. On employment front, CEA said there has been significant change in nature of employment in the country between 2011-12 to 2017-18. Chief Economic Advisor said the proportion of regular salaried workers in the country has gone up by 5%, while that of casual workers has come down by 5%.
The percentage of casual workers has gone down by 5%, and the regular salaried workers has gone up by an equivalent 5%.
Revenue Secretary Ajay Bhushan Pandey has said that the focus of the government has been on simplification. Revenue Secretary said it will be compulsory for all taxpayers with turnover of more than ₹100 crore to generate e-invoice for all B2B transactions.
From 1st of January, all taxpayers, all companies having more than 500 crores, they will have an option to generate electronic invoice from 1st of January 2020. Why we are doing it? Because from 1st of April 2020, we are going to make electronic invoice mandatory for the companies having turnover more than 100 crores.
Government has taken several reforms in the last few months in order to boost the economy, and evidence of which is actually seen in record FDI inflows in the country. Arun Sharma's report for DD News.
And let's try and quickly look at the bigger takeaways from the Finance Minister's briefing. And one of the big takeaways, she talked about the steps being taken by the government to bolster economy and investment. The investment opportunities, she said they are bearing fruits. Let's move on to the next graphics. Investments are picking up pace. Investments are picking a lot of momentum. She talked about the sectoral demands which will be considered in the pre-budget consultations starting Monday. So that groundwork will already start. Support extending to NBFCs under partial credit guarantee scheme is something she also talked about. Finance Minister talked about support of rupees 4.47 lakh crores which have been sanctioned for these HFCs and NBFCs. Moving on, she said over 8 lakh loans worth rupees that much, that is 72,201 crores, that's a whopping amount, being sanctioned under new external benchmarking scheme till November 27th. FDI, let's talk about FDI. FDI to the tune of $35 billion in the first half of the financial year 20 versus this figure in same period last year. So basically also she talked about the FDI flow. 66% of the budgeted expenditure of rupees 3.38 lakh crore has been undertaken so far. Well, talking about April-November capex for 32 CPSEs at rupees 98,000 crore. The other big takeaway, she talked about the railways and road ministries. The respective ministries will be undertaking rupees 2.46 lakh crore by December 31 for various infrastructural investments. She also talked about the capital infusion of rupees 60,314 crore into PSU banks which have been in news of late as well. Rupees 2.2 lakh crore worth loans will be dispersed to the corporates and rupees 72,985 crores to medium and small scale industries. Rupees 1.57 lakh crore tax refunded this year. This is the amount of tax that has been refunded this year versus this much refunded last year. Moving on, income tax. Talking about income tax, she also talked about the income tax refund which has risen up to 27% so far. in financial year 20. Now, let's quickly talk about the stock markets also. She said the stock markets have derived a lot of benefits as far as reforms made in capital markets, especially considered. Bond markets have also made some very, very attractive forays. Moving on, she talked about how India has jumped 63 spots in ease of doing business ranking, which has gone up by insolvency and bankruptcy code. Moving on, important also changes in the IBC, which Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, talked about. Important changes in IBC, ring fencing successful bidders of stressed assets from prosecution. Moving on to land reforms, where Nirmala Sitharaman has talked about the code amalgamating 4 different labor laws in Parliament. The other big takeaway in today's press conference that Nirmala Sitharaman talked about, let's move on to the other salient features of 9 lakh businesses benefited. The 9 lakh businesses have benefited due to simplification of GST, simplification of GST refund, as well as input tax credit process. Now coming to very important aspect of onion prices, spiraling prices of onion prices. She said that they are easing because the GOM has been formed, monitoring the current situation closely, and we are ready to take further steps in order to arrest the inflation as far as onion price hike is concerned. And with that, we're going to slip into a very short break, and after that we'll talk about poll-bound Jharkhand. कहां से?
Campaigning is on at a feverish pace for the remaining 2 of the 5 phases in the Jharkhand Assembly elections. Friday saw several top BJP leaders holding rallies in the state seeking votes for the party's candidates. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Union Minister Nitin Gadkari held a string of public meetings through the day. Both the leaders not only attacked the Congress, but they also appealed to voters to bring back the Raghuvar Das government into power in the state.
जो भारत का नहीं, भारत माता का हितैषी नहीं, भारत की सुरक्षा में सेंध लगाने वाला हो, घुसपैठियों को जबरदस्ती सिर में बिठा करके देश की सुरक्षा के सर सेंध लगाने की शरारत कर रहा हो, जिसके लिए देश का हित से महत्वपूर्ण स्वयं का हित महत्वपूर्ण हो गया हो, ऐसे कांग्रेस, आरजेडी और झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा के लोगों के साथ ये चौपाई अक्सर सो सही बैठती है।
हर माँ गरीब के घर में गैस का सिलेंडर और चूल्हा पहुंचाना है, गांव में अच्छी स्कूल चाहिए, गांव में अच्छा अस्पताल चाहिए, तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का साथ दीजिए।
Leaders of JMM, JVMP and AJSU have also been holding a flurry of rallies to garner support for their candidates.
सरकार बनने के बाद आपने देखा महंगाई बेतहाशा बढ़ा, गरीबों के थाली से पहले सब्जी गायब हो गया, दाल गायब हो गया। अब जो गरीब नमक और प्याज से अपना गुजारा करता था, अब प्याज भी गायब हो गया।
Electioneering is hurtling towards the finish line in Jharkhand with only 2 of a total of 5 phases left to be polled. Counting of votes will be held on the 23rd of this month. With Divakar in Ranchi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, as the Citizenship Amendment Bill gets Parliament's nod, normalcy has resumed in the state of Assam and Northeast. Although the curfew has officially not been removed in Guwahati, but the residents have resumed back their day-to-day routine. There have been peaceful protests so far at few places, and curfew has also been relaxed in Dibrugarh district. Meanwhile, Assam DGP Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta has clarified that strict action will be taken against people taking over law and order in their hands. He also mentioned that no action will be taken against people protesting in a peaceful manner in the state.
There are different conspirators. There are different kinds of organizations and people. The democratic, peaceful agitators are not our adversaries at all. We facilitate their movement. Only that we take care to stop them when we get information that they have been infiltrated by bad characters.
Meanwhile, in the Silchar city of Assam, people have welcomed the Citizenship Amendment Bill.
विभिन्न देशों से जो लोग आज भारत में नागरिकता बिल पास होने पर जो रहने की मौका पा रहे हैं, इसके लिए बहुत ही खुशी लग रही है।
सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल जो पास हुआ राज्यसभा में, हम लोग बहुत आनंदित हो। हिंदू शरणार्थी धर्मीय कारण में भारत में घुसा था वैध पासपोर्ट लेके, लेकिन हम लोगों का सिटीजनशिप नहीं मिल रहा है। हम लोगों को उम्मीद है अभी हम लोग भारत का नागरिक बन सकते हैं।
हमारा आसाम का शरणार्थी नहीं है, पूरा देश में बहुत जगह से आया, पाकिस्तान बांग्लादेश से आया, बहुत हिंदू है, बुद्धिस्ट है, क्रिश्चियन है, सबका लिए आनंद का खुशी का दिन।
लोग देशभाग के बली होकर जो बाहर थे, भूखे थे, नंगे थे, छत नहीं था सर पे, दूसरे संप्रदाय के लोगों ने उनका ऊपर टॉर्चर करते थे। आज का तारीख में इंडिया में फिर से वो लोग वापस आए।
अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश में प्रताड़ित हुए हमारे हिंदू, पारसी, सिख, बौद्ध, जैन भाइयों को जो सुविधा हमारा देश देगा वो उन्होंने इसको लेके कहा है, तो हमें बहुत ही खुशी है।
Well, moving on to other news and updates, camps to facilitate applications for citizenship after the notification of the Citizenship Amendment Act are being set up. One such camp at the District Collector's office in Jaisalmer saw applications for long-term visa extensions that are being processed. Scrutiny of documents is a crucial process in granting citizenship.
आवेदन है वो ऑनलाइन है और बाकी रिपोर्टिंग और क्लियरेंस जो है वो सेंटर से ऑनलाइन है। टोटल 15 एप्लीकेंट है और 15 एप्लीकेंट्स का अपना प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं। जो कमी है अगर किसी आवेदन में तो अपना आज ही कंप्लीट करवा रहे हैं सारा। लॉन्ग टर्म वीज़ा के बगैर तो आप सिटीजनशिप का बात ही नहीं कर सकते। देयर कैन नॉट बी ए सिटीजनशिप विदाउट लॉन्ग टर्म वीज़ा क्लियरेंस।
The meeting of the National Council for Ganga is going to be held on December 14 at Chandrasekhar Azad University of Agriculture Technology in Kanpur of UP. Prime Minister Modi will chair this meeting and later he will be visiting Atal Ghat to review the works done under Namami Gange project. Here is all you need to know about this historic initiative.
Preparations are in full swing as the city of Kanpur is taking a historic initiative to make Ganga clean and pollution-free. The first meeting of the National Council for Ganga will be held in Kanpur under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday. After the review meeting, it will be decided what needs to be done to further improve the situation of Ganga. As many as 10 union ministers and chief ministers of 5 states will participate in the meeting to review Ganga cleanliness work executed over the last 5 years.
National Ganga Council के जो भी मिनिस्टर जो उसके पदेन उसके सदस्य हैं वो सब मंत्रीगण यहाँ पर आएंगे और अभी मुख्यमंत्री उत्तराखंड के भी आने की हमें कंफर्मेशन मिल गया है, वो आएंगे। बिहार में माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के स्थान पर कोई और अर्बन डेवलपमेंट मिनिस्टर उनके आएंगे, ये हमें सूचना मिल गई है। इसके अलावा केंद्रीय मंत्री, केंद्रीय वित्त मंत्री, केंद्रीय जल शक्ति मंत्री, केंद्रीय पर्यावरण मंत्री और केंद्रीय एग्रीकल्चर मिनिस्टर, ये सब के आने का भी हमें कंफर्मेशन मिल चुका है।
Prime Minister Modi will also visit an exhibition at Chandrasekhar Azad University. Meanwhile, preparations at Atal Ghat at the Kanpur barrage are in place.
कल माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आगमन कानपुर में होगा और नेशनल गंगा काउंसिल की प्रथम बैठक यहाँ पर प्रस्तावित है। उसका वेन्यू होगा चंद्रशेखर आज़ाद यूनिवर्सिटी का जो अपना सेमिनार रूम है वहाँ पे होगा। वहाँ आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय बैठक करेंगे। उससे पहले वो एक एग्जीबिशन को भी देखेंगे जो कि गंगा के को अविरल और निर्मल बनाने के लिए जो काम नमामि गंगे के अंतर्गत हो रहे हैं उन सब की एक एग्जीबिशन देखेंगे और उसके बाद फिर आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय अटल घाट में जाएंगे। अटल घाट भी नमामि गंगे के अंतर्गत बना हुआ एक बहुत सुंदर घाट यहाँ पर है।
The Prime Minister will commute by boat from Atal Ghat to Sisamau Nala. More than 14 crore litres of sewage water used to fall into the Ganges in this 128-year-old drain, but now it has been completely closed. Strong security arrangements have been made in the city in view of Prime Minister's visit to Kanpur. Namami Gange program is an integrated conservation mission approved in June 2014 with budget outlay of Rs 20,000 crore to accomplish the twin objectives of effective pollution control and conservation and rejuvenation of River Ganga. With Rishi Kumar in Kanpur, Bureau Report, DD News.
And now let's quickly take a look at what else we've been tracking across the country.
A Delhi court will hear on Wednesday a plea seeking issuance of death warrants against the 4 persons convicted in the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case. The court today deferred the matter till the 18th of December. noting that the review petition of one of the convicts was pending before the Supreme Court for Tuesday. The Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly passed a bill today to further amend the Indian Penal Code and the Code of Criminal Procedure that will enable expeditious investigation and trial of offences against women and children, especially sexual offences, and award of death penalty. The Supreme Court today said it's satisfied with the report of Juvenile Justice Committee of Jammu and Kashmir High Court that said that no minors were detained in jails in the erstwhile state post the abrogation of the provisions of Article 370. The Apex Court, after perusing the committee's report, said that 4 High Court judges visited all the jails in J&K and they have clearly stated that no minors have been illegally detained there. The Supreme Court has declined to pass any order on the pleas by 2 women activists seeking a direction to the Kerala government to ensure safe entry of women in the Sabarimala temple under police protection. The top court said the issue was very emotive and it did not want the situation to become explosive. The top court also said that it would endeavour to constitute the larger bench at the earliest to hear the matter. Former Defence Minister and 3-time Chief Minister of Goa Manohar Parrikar was paid floral tributes on his 64th birth anniversary. To commemorate the day, a function was organised in New Delhi where people from various walks of life remembered the leader. The famous Vaishno Devi shrine experienced the season's first snowfall as moderate to heavy snow and rains lashed wide parts of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh for the second consecutive day on Friday, disrupting normal life. In Himachal Pradesh too, cold wave intensified after rain, snowfall occurred in many parts of the state, resulting in decrease in the maximum temperature by 7 to 8 degrees Celsius. Normal life has also been disrupted in hilly areas of Uttarakhand following heavy snowfall at higher reaches and rains in other parts of the state.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid today. Prime Minister Modi noted the enhanced level of engagement between the 2 countries, that is India and Maldives, and the positive outcomes of their bilateral cooperation in the last 1 year. He told the visiting Maldivian Foreign Minister that India remains committed to partnership for a strong, democratic, prosperous and peaceful Maldives. Earlier today, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar also met Maldivian counterpart Abdullah Shahid in Hyderabad House at Delhi. Both sides inked 2 pacts providing for cooperation in financial intelligence and election-related issues, besides exchanging an instrument of ratification for a treaty on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters. On to some international news. Boris Johnson's Conservative Party has secured a majority by seizing seats from the Labour Party in its traditional bastion. This means Johnson remains the Prime Minister of UK and he should now be able to push his Brexit deal through Parliament. Meanwhile, the opposition's Jeremy Corbyn, in a huge setback, has said he will not lead the Labour Party into the next polls. Here's a quick explainer on the UK poll results and why are these results so crucial for Boris Johnson.
Hot off the printing presses on Friday, British newspaper headlines marked Boris Johnson's sweeping victory and the newly cleared path towards Brexit. With Labour being described as receiving a mauling and being swept away, Brexmas was announced and full steam ahead for Johnson. Next, it was the turn of the re-entry of Boris Johnson into 10 Downing Street, followed by the visit to Buckingham Palace.
I'm proud to say that members of our new One Nation government, a people's government, will set out from constituencies that have never returned a Conservative MP for 100 years. And yes, they will have an overwhelming mandate from this election to get Brexit done, and we will honour that mandate by January the 31st.
Voters in London said they were not surprised by the British election results, which saw Boris Johnson's Conservatives return to power with a substantial majority and a promise to see Brexit through.
Yeah, delighted. Yeah, very happy. Didn't actually vote for Brexit, but I just wanted it done.
I just didn't like Jeremy Corbyn, and he was the only other alternative, and I didn't like him.
I don't even like Jeremy Corbyn at the end of the day, but the lesser of 2 evils is him.
Congratulatory messages started pouring in soon after. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, "Many congratulations to PM Boris Johnson for his return with a thumping majority. I wish him the best and look forward to working together for closer India-UK ties." European Union leaders gathered in Brussels to discuss Britain's departure from the bloc. They congratulated Johnson, expecting British Parliament to pass the withdrawal agreement soon.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Prime Minister Johnson. It's an enormous victory for him on a personal level and also a very clear result for his party. I think it's a positive thing that we have a decisive outcome in Britain in their elections.
I hereby declare that the said Boris Johnson is duly elected.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson won a resounding election victory on Friday that will allow him to end 3 years of political paralysis and take Britain out of the European Union within weeks. The Brexit divorce represents Britain's biggest political and economic gamble since World War II, cutting the world's fifth largest economy adrift from the vast trading bloc and testing the integrity of the United Kingdom. For Johnson, who had faced gridlock in Parliament and focused his campaign on a vow to get Brexit done, victory was a vindication. In a political earthquake in England, the Conservatives won large numbers of seats in the opposition Labour Party's so-called Red Wall, traditional working-class heartlands once hostile to Johnson's party. Boris Johnson hailed it as a vote for Corbyn-neutral Christmas.
Thank you very much. You'll hear us speak shortly. Thank you very much.
Labour, led since 2015 by the veteran socialist Corbyn, had won just 203 seats, the party's worst result since 1935. Corbyn's offer of a radical agenda failed to win over voters, while his equivocal position on Brexit left many angry and confused, especially in red wall areas where large majorities had voted for Brexit in 2016. Corbyn said he would quit as Labour leader after a period of reflection. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And also record 15 Indian origin politicians have entered the UK's House of Commons after a historic election win by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Indian origin candidates across both the ruling Conservative and opposition Labour parties registered equally strong results of 7 wins each in the UK's general election, with around a dozen MPs retaining their seats alongside some new faces as well, taking their number in the UK's lower house up to 15. The new parliament voted in also produced the most diverse parliament ever, with 1 in 10 MPs now from an ethnic minority background. Well, Boris Johnson has been re-elected as UK Prime Minister after a landslide win in the general elections, which saw the Conservative Party win the biggest majority in the last 3 decades. Mr. Johnson says he now has an overwhelming mandate to deliver Brexit. Speaking outside Downing Street, he said, and I quote, "Let the healing begin," unquote. Our UK correspondent Holly Hudson has more.
Yes, an enormous victory for Boris Johnson and his Conservative Party. 364 seats out of 650 available. Here in the UK, you only need 326 for a majority. So a stonking victory was how the Prime Minister described it. He says he now has a powerful mandate to, as he's been putting it throughout this campaign, get Brexit done. Of course, he did roll the dice in calling this election as the incumbent Prime Minister because he wanted to get a majority to break the gridlock in Parliament and push through his withdrawal deal that he had made with the European Union, and that he will now do. Next month, the UK will leave the European Union as it stands. We'll likely see the House of Commons vote on this withdrawal agreement again next week, and Boris Johnson now has the support to easily slide that through. So a crushing defeat that we've seen for the main opposition party, Labour. Many of those Leave supporters have swung to the Conservatives this time round, and the Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn saying he will stand down, but not just yet. Many Remain supporters here waking up hugely disappointed. Their hopes of a second referendum or even stopping Brexit pretty much have disappeared.
And now we are also joined live all the way from Brussels by Nina Maria Potts. Nina, quickly coming to you. What is really the significance of this big win for Johnson, not only for UK but also for Brexit, and also what happens next?
Congratulations have been pouring in from EU leaders gathered here in Brussels for the second day of a key EU summit. Congratulations for Boris Johnson, their British counterpart, who has won the UK election with a clear majority, not something that many here were entirely expecting. The focus here has shifted very much to what's known as the Phase 2 process, which is really about the next part part of the negotiations between the UK and the European Union, which are centred around an essential trade deal which is needed for both sides if they're going to continue any sort of meaningful relationship. EU leaders have very much welcomed the clarity that the UK election win brings for Boris Johnson. It's also eliminated any shred of doubt that they might have had over the future, the political future of Britain. EU leaders now want to move on to this second phase, and their hope is to kickstart these trade deal negotiations. They do want further clarity, though, from the British Parliament, from that key vote, so that they can initiate those discussions. There is a little bit of disagreement here in Brussels about how long those trade negotiations might take, with the European Commission Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier indicated that it could take as long as 2 years, and he kept emphasising through the day at these meetings here in Brussels that the negotiations needed to be fair for all sides.
Well, thank you very much, Nina, for joining us all the way from Brussels. So, negotiations of the Brexit are going to take a little bit more time. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this edition of Newsnight on DD India, nation's leading news broadcaster. Stay with us.